the Democratic Republic of Sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
Welcome into the Sportsocracy Tuesday morning, big day in the NFL. It is the, I agree, it's the end of an era now.
Hey, we don't get to talk about is Dak going to get paid anymore.
Dak Prescott gets paid by the Dallas Cowboys. We got tag day in the NFL. We got Offseason Files coming on the way, and oh yeah, there's the basketball as well. Let's throw the headline out there before we get started here. Congratulations to Appalachian State.
Hey, they made the first tournament for the first time since I was born.
And to UNC Greensboro for winning their conference tournaments. They punched their tickets into the big dance. So last night, North Carolina 2, Georgia 0, as both teams beat Georgia teams last night in their conference tournaments. So congratulations to Wes Miller and the Spartans.
It's okay, Georgia. I'll be coming to make it up to you in 5 days.
And, of course, the Mountaineers. All right.
You may not have any teams in the tournament, but by God, you're going to have a whole shitload of North Carolina money being spent on your St. Patrick's Day festivities.
Yes, indeed. We are live in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Dak Prescott, 4-year contract with the Dallas Cowboys for $160 million. He's got $126 million guaranteed, a signing bonus of $66. Dude got paid, and I'm happy for him.
I'm happy for him. I mean, I don't hate on anybody getting their money. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, I can say I do like the way that this deal is structured. It's actually structured pretty nicely for the Cowboys because the first year cap hit's only $22 million, so they're going to they'll have a little bit of cap space.
Yeah.
The Jalen Smith thing we can probably do away with. He's not going to be back. They'll bring this team back pretty well intact with a chance to improve the defense. I think this is a net win for the Cowboys. Now, I have to explain something because this has driven me crazy for the last 12 hours. There is no shot he sees the last year of this deal. None. When the cap hit's going to be $400 bajillion. That's not going to happen. They'll extend him in year 3. Mm-hmm. That's how this works. That's where the term kick the can down the road came from. So calm down on he's going to make $60 million. No, he's not. No, he's not.
No, he's not. Mm-mm. It may look that way on paper right now, but no, he will not. This is a great way for them this is an incentive not only for them to have him for the next 4 years, but to have him for the next 15 years.
Well, they also did something that I didn't find out about until right before we went on air. They're going to franchise him today.
Now, what sense does that make?
So the reason they're going to franchise him today, and I did not know this, and I'm a cap guy. So when you get tagged, the tag goes with you forever. Mm-hmm. So if he were to ever be tagged again, he would be tagged as a third tag player, no matter what team, no matter what the contract deal is. It's not years in a row. It's not to one team. It's for life. The third time you're tagged, you get $1 billion. It's not that much, but it's a lot.
Right.
And that was apparently something they worked into the negotiations was we want you to tag him just to de-incentivize anybody ever tagging him again. And the Cowboys can't tag him over the course of the 4 year. I don't know if they can ever tag him. I didn't hear the logistics of that. But I know when this deal runs out, they cannot franchise tag him.
Well, I think that's the rule, that you can't franchise tag a player more than twice.
Well, no, you can.
Can you?
Oh, yeah. You can tag a player. It just gets ridiculously expensive. Now, you would never want to because the third time I think you have to give them your firstborn.
You got to give them 150% of their contract.
I don't know what it is, but it's a lot.
Well, I mean, you do it back-to-back years, it's 120%. We've already seen that twice now with Justin Simmons with the Denver Broncos, and then we've got a new one added to the list with Brandon Scherf.
Yeah, who's shocked? Who's shocked he got tagged? Show of hands? Nobody? Okay, that's what I thought.
Dak Prescott, is he worth the money? That's the big question everybody's asking right now. And I'll be honest with you, I can't say that as a player on the field he's going to live up to the contract, but it's the best thing they got going.
I'm going to use a line that I like using a lot. At bedtime at Fat Camp, a pack of Skittles is steak tartare. So what else were you going to do? We saw the Dallas Cowboys without Dak Prescott, and they were an abject disaster.
Right.
So, yeah, he's worth it. I don't love giving big money to quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. To me, $40 million is reserved for the Russell Wilsons and Pat Mahomes. But Dak Prescott's in that next tier. I think he's a very good quarterback, and he's bar none the best the Dallas Cowboys could do. And it's not like you said. The thing that when I saw that he had signed, the first thought I had was, oh, God, how many years did they give him? Mm-hmm. I was afraid there was going to be like an 8-year deal. It wasn't. It's 4 years. It's fine. I have no qualms with any of this. It's fine.
It works out great for Dak in the end because he's going to be able to, renegotiate this contract in a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And when he comes up for renegotiation, he's going to continue to be able to keep himself in pace. It's like it's like inflation. He's going to be able to set his mark 2 years from now. And if he keeps doing these deals where it's, a lot of money on the back end, he can do this forever.
3 years from now, this deal's probably going to look real nice. Because a lot of people have pointed this out. Jerry Jones is pretty well connected with what the TV deals are going to be. Mm-hmm. So I think it's not lost on me that this deal got done right as we're getting ready to renegotiate a TV deal. As the NFL has blown every other sport out of the water, I could see this being a value deal 3 years from now. Mm-hmm. And I think that was Dak's problem, is I don't want to be the guy that signed first, and 4 years from now I'm the best value in the NFL. And he very well could be.
Right.
Even with this deal where he got damn near everything he wanted.
And I think he deserves all of it. I think he's the best thing that the Dallas Cowboys have going. And this should have gotten done 2 years ago.
Now my question is, what the fuck are we going to talk about with the Dallas Cowboys? We've talked about nothing but is Dak going to get paid for, 9 years now? I think we've done that since I started in this business.
Well, now it's all about what's on the field. It's all about how they produce. If he can get wins and they can continue to be in the playoffs every year, because anything less is going to be seen as a failure. If you're not in the playoffs every year, especially in this division, we talked about yesterday how bad this division is. Now, Washington's getting better. We believe in the Washington defense. What are they going to do at quarterback? They've got some good young weapons on offense, so Washington's there as a player. The Giants are the Giants, and the Eagles are god-awful.
And going to be god-awful.
Right.
That's not going to change anytime soon.
But you've got a window here where you need to try to keep this thing together. I think now the big discussion is going to be on how much they overpaid everyone else.
Just Zeke. That's the only one they've ever paid.
Cooper. I think they overpaid Cooper. What's he making, $25 million a year?
It's not that much. It's 22, I think.
22?
I mean, it is what it is. It was fair market value for him at the time. There was another offer on the table that was the same amount of money.
Agreed.
So you did what you had to do. You couldn't lose him.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And now, if the Cowboys defense goes from god-awful to just average, it's a 10-16.
Yes.
And that's the way it is. The offense is going to be damn near impossible to stop. Because you got three receivers that could be ones on teams in the NFL. Michael Gallup could be a one for 5 teams in the NFL. And I don't even think that's debatable.
No. One of them's your Jets.
For now. Give us a week.
Give you a week.
Yeah. I'll revisit that.
Until free agency rolls around.
I'll revisit that spicy here in about 10 days.
As it stands, though, your team would definitely be in that group.
100%.
I'm with you on that. Ezekiel Elliott is the albatross contract, but we all knew it when it happened.
Stop signing running backs to big deals. It never, ever, ever, ever works. Christian McCaffrey, looking right at you.
He's next because you set this unattainable goal with running backs because they just don't last that long. Their production is going to dip. You're going to hate paying on that contract when they get older. What's your 2,000 carries? That's your benchmark. Once they hit about 2,000 carries,
but it's between 2,000 and 2,500 depending on the guy.
Yeah, they have a marked drop off. And I still feel like Ezekiel Elliott's one of the best running backs in the league, talent wise. You've just got to be able to open some holes for him with all the injuries they've had on the offensive line. To me, I honestly believe that the Dallas Cowboys aren't far away. They're a few pieces on defense away. The problem is now they're spending so much money. How are they going to be able to add those pieces? That means you have to draft really, really well.
Yep.
And have they done that?
Dallas?
Yeah.
Dallas is drafted better than people think they have. I mean, I can't believe I'm getting ready to say what I'm getting ready to say. Since Jerry Jones has eased his control of the team, I think Steven's pretty smart. I mean, maybe I'm off maybe I'm off my rocker on that, but I think Steven Smith's pretty smart, and I think this team's pretty good. I mean, I believed in him last year. I had him going to the Super Bowl. Man, that sounded worse when it came out of my mouth than it did in my head. Oof. But I mean, I still think they're the best team in this division by a lot. I mean, does anybody disagree with that? Is there anybody in this division that can contend with them?
The Washington football team.
Whose quarterback right now is me.
But that's going to change.
It's Taylor Heineken. I'm good. Yeah, he's another one whose name I refuse to use your actual name.
But Taylor Heineken is probably not going to be the
No, it's
guy.
probably going to be Sam Darnold, who, by the way, is the next domino to drop. You mark my words.
So you add Sam Darnold to this team. Do you not feel markedly better about the Washington football team offense?
Okay, let's be really honest. Look at Washington's offense right now. What is markedly better about Washington's offense than he's had with the Jets?
Terry McLaurin. He hasn't had a weapon like him.
He had Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson's not.
Robbie
Terry
Anderson's
McLaurin.
better than Terry McLaurin. You're right.
No.
He's better. Terry McLaurin's fine. It's his second year in the damn league. He was a third-round pick for a reason. I mean, he's that tall.
He's got Antonio Gibson.
He actually is. That's a real-life dramatization of how tall Terry McLaurin is standing on the edge of our table over there.
He's got Antonio Gibson.
Antonio Gibson would be the only answer, but oh, by the way, Sam Darnold had Le'Veon Bell, he wasn't always fat Le'Veon. That wasn't always a thing.
He averaged like 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, Adam Gase was. I'm not getting into the Adam Gase thing.
Yeah.
Not doing it. It's been too weird of a morning already. I'm not doing Adam Gase shit.
I'm just saying. I think that he would have better weapons in Washington than he had with the Jets. Because I disagree with you. I think Terry McLaurin is better than Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder combined.
Oh, you're right. Now you're fucking drunk. You went from wrong to fucking dumb.
Dead wrong. No, I think Washington is a contender in this division. It's no question. I don't think this is. I don't put the Dallas Cowboys ahead of Washington in a walk, especially if they can't figure out the defense. Yeah, they're going to be able to score points, but then you end up being what, the Seattle Seahawks? And I think there's room for improvement with the Washington football team to be that competitive. So I can see both of these teams being 10-6.
Yeah. I mean, this was a no-brainer to me. I'm just glad Dallas finally figured it out. And now you've got Dak for forever. And you have one less suitor for Russell Wilson. And then there were three.
Well, that was never going to happen to begin with.
Agreed. But now you have – here's the part that nobody's going to talk about. Now Seattle has less leverage. He said, I'll go to 4 teams. Well, one of them is gone.
Yeah.
The other one is sucks and killed against the Cap. So you've really got 2. You know what happens?
And New Orleans was the team that you're cutting out of that.
Yeah, I don't know how much you paid attention in civics class, but supply and demand's a real bitch. And right now, old Rusty Shackelford has 2 suitors. That's it.
The Las Vegas Raiders and the Chicago freaking Bears. Stop that.
I can't. I'm telling you, do not sleep on the fact that Rusty Shackelford may not be a Seattle Seahawk next year. I'm telling you. Everybody tells me I'm crazy.
You are crazy.
Then explain to me why they left him out of the season ticket holder letter. Okay, I'm going to tell you the same thing that, and I know we don't talk politics, but it's the only analogy I got.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you the same thing I said about the coronavirus. If you're trying to explain to me that this was not a political ploy, you're doing a shitty job of it. Because Joe Biden showed up, and 4 minutes later, all of a sudden, we're done. Okay, I'm not saying you're wrong. If you're trying to convince me that that's not the case, you're doing a shit job of it.
No.
Seattle, if you're trying to convince me that you're not going to trade Russell Wilson, you probably should have put your biggest player in your newsletter to your season ticket holders.
I think they're just playing mind games with Russ. That's all.
Well, that's
all
stupid.
this is.
If that's what you're doing, he's definitively going to be gone. Yeah. I mean, if you had some temp drew that up. First of all, don't do that. Don't let temps draw things up that go to your season ticket holders. That's stupid. But that's not what happened. The owner, the president, they all had to sign off on this. And they all universally went, leave Russ out. Leave Russ out.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Okay.
I think there's zero chance that Russell Wilson gets traded from the Seattle Seahawks. They will figure this thing out. I can't even begin to think of why they would have left him out of that letter, but I don't see it as a sign that they're ready to move on from Russ.
Stephen Tao said, I'm reaching. You want to know why his name has to be in that letter? Because you had DK Metcalf's and Tyler Lockett's. Mm-hmm. If you'd put no players in, this wouldn't have been a story. Yeah. But you did. You did do that. And you did it almost like you were doing it on purpose. Because those two names were right together, and that was the only reference to a player in the whole damn thing. And you didn't, with Corbin, really? That would be like you made a blockbuster movie with Nick Cage and give me some other actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and on the poster you put Carrot Top. Sweet. Hot. Can't wait to watch that. That'll be fun. Going to watch an action movie and you're advertising Kathy Griffin and fucking Carrot Top. Sweet. I'm not comparing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett to Carrot Top. That's not what I meant. It was a joke. Lighten the fuck up.
I don't know what the thought process was there of leaving him out. Maybe just best not to say anything since we're on rocky ground right now. It's not a great sign for the future, but it's also not us sticking our foot in our mouths when we say Russ is definitely here and then Russ decides, fuck it, I'm out. And he sits out or doesn't play or whatever. You're just trying to send the message that there are other things to like about this team than Russell Wilson. To me, that's the smart PR play here. You're covering your bases to make sure that they realize however this Russ thing goes, we're still going to be here. We still have building blocks. It may look bleak right now, but we got a lot to work with. That's all I can read into that. And maybe that was the intention, but that's the best excuse I got for why you would do that. Why would you poke the bear?
There's not a good reason.
No, there's not a good reason.
There's not a good reason. You made this a topic, and here we are.
But still,
and now you don't have Dak died behind anymore.
Right.
Now Dak's gotten his money. And now we don't have shit else to talk about except Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson in terms of quarterbacks. And guess what? Deshaun Watson ain't going damn nowhere because they're running out of suitors really quickly.
Why am I surprised? Why am I surprised that this organization cannot even capitalize on that? You have a bargaining chip bigger than anything anyone's ever had.
Because they're the Houston Texans and they'd screw up a blowjibbers. They talk through it. I mean, why are you surprised?
Like I said, I'm not surprised. Jack Easterby has destroyed this franchise from within.
Well, I mean, he was following players around like he was, what was that character Matt Damon played? Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Don't follow people. That should be a good rule in life. Don't follow people places that they don't know you're following them.
You just put your hands in, you put your franchise in the hands of a guy who used to be a team chaplain. That seems odd to me. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. Jack Easterby was the team chaplain for the Chiefs back in the day. How he rose up that ladder, I will never know. It just shows you kiss enough ass in this life, you're going to figure out a way to screw somebody's business up, I guess.
Which is why I have always been stuck in the same tier of the corporate ladder I've always been on.
Right.
Because, I mean, I'll kiss an ass, don't get me wrong, but timing's everything.
We'll only trust you up to a certain point.
Oh, I wouldn't. I don't know that I would trust me, but mainly because I'm stupid.
Right now, it's all of the pressure. Right now, I feel like is now on Mike McCarthy. It's now up to Mike McCarthy. We've settled the big problem. We've settled the Dak issue. Dak's going to be our guy moving forward. Now it's time for Mike McCarthy to put rubber to the road. Mm-hmm. It's time for this team to
all
start
gas,
living
no
up
break.
Exactly.
I'm going to make a shirt with the Sportsocracy logo on it in Jets colors. It just says all gas, no break, and I'm going to wear it every day.
I'm sorry.
That's how I live my
I
life.
zoned out for a second there. I missed that.
I'm sure you did.
I missed that joke.
That's how I live my life. All gas, no break.
Gotcha. But I think the pressure now lies on the front office and on the coach.
I think that, and see, this is where I disagree with you. The offense was not the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was you couldn't stop a nosebleed with a roll of paper towels.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think the onus is on Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn has the most pressure of any new coordinator in the NFL. And I don't even think that's debatable.
You're right. Because this team is going to be expected to compete for a Super Bowl.
Me and Ron saw it at the same time. The comments of this show are the happiest time of my day. Because you know what it tells me? There are people in this earth that are as fucked up as I am. And I'm here for it.
It's
all gas, no break.
Exactly. It's Super Bowl or bust in Dallas now. Now it's all about getting that elusive championship that they haven't had since 1995.
Mm-hmm. And they have the offense. The question is, can Dan Quinn put the defense together? And I think he can.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of similarities between the way this Dallas personnel grouping on defense is put together and the Seattle defense that Dan Quinn put together when he was with Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could be real good.
I mean,
you need some corners.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one. I like Trayvon Diggs as a 2. He's a good 2. You need to hit on a 1. And that could be Caleb Farley in the top 10 or Patrick Surtain.
I think Dak Prescott may be in the best situation of any quarterback that has had a major deal like this in recent memory. With all of the weapons that he has and the infrastructure that's in place with that team, mm-hmm. I think he's probably the guy who's gotten this deal and is most set up for success. Him and Patrick Mahomes are right there together.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. The thing with Mahomes is that you're not going to know how he's set up because that deal doesn't hit for another year.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he starts getting paid, that's when we'll see how well that ages. Because I have a funny feeling it's going to age like a dairy product.
Yep. But I'm saying Dak's got a legitimate window with this offense to do some special things in the next 4 years. I think he's truly set up to be successful and take this team as far as he wants to. You think they are legit Super Bowl contenders after making this move?
I will. You're all saying no. I hear you saying it.
No.
They could be. How many teams in the NFL have a better offense than the Dallas Cowboys have right now? It's not more than 2. I'm not listening to anything outside of Kansas City.
Tampa Bay. No?
I would listen to Tampa Bay. That was the other one I had in my brain. I would listen to it. I don't know that I agree with it.
I mean, depending on
Green Bay's second receiver is fat Devin Funchess.
I'll give it to you, depending on what Tampa can bring back. I mean, without Chris Godwin, that becomes a Dallas Cowboy dominant.
Does anybody else see the irony that 3 of the players I call fat are all in the same city? You got fat Devin Funchess, fat Jamal Williams, and who's the other?
Fat A.J. Dillon.
Fat A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon's not fat, and I would never say it to his face because that dude would whip my ass.
You're just stuck in the mode after fat Jamal Williams.
You know what's funny? After I can't believe I'm going to say this, and you know what? This will segue into something else we were going to talk about today. One of the things, so we're doing previews of every position going into the draft and free agency and all those things. I'm not going to be here next week because it's my birthday. And I like to take weird weeks off because this is probably the worst week I could have taken off in the history of time. Between the NCAA tournament, free agency kicking off, the Wednesday that I'm gone, you'll see a lot of my face on my phone. That's about the best I can do. But I will say there's a running back that I have been hard on for many years that I have kind of changed my tune on.
Okay.
And that's fat Jamal Williams. I think fat Jamal Williams is going to get more money than you think he is. And I could see him being a starting running back in the NFL next year.
That sounds crazy.
What? Okay. All right. And here's why I say that. There's your list of running backs that are on the free agent market. That's my top 9. Aaron Jones, I could see being tagged today. There's a better than 0 chance he gets tagged. Or they're just going to take their chances. If he hits the free agent market, he will be a Miami Dolphin. You mark my words.
Yeah.
Then it gets very Chris Carson, Kenyon Drake, Mike Davis, Leonard Fournette. You know what all 4 of those guys have in common?
What's that?
None of them are real good catching footballs. Jamal Williams ain't that bad. Jamal Williams is probably the most all-around back on the free agent market. And I will say I have a belief in Le'Veon Bell.
Still?
I do. I think in the right situation, Le'Veon Bell can still be good.
I don't think he'll ever be a starter again. I really don't. After New York and after not really playing all that much in Kansas City.
That's because he's a running back coming into Andy Reid's system. That's an overplayed. Do you know how hard it is to pick up that system when you've never been in it?
I agree.
He probably, by the end of the season, he had probably mastered 20% of the offense.
Right.
And I might be being nice on that. Le'Veon Bell, I actually want him to be higher. And he will be because I think Mike Davis goes back to Carolina. Kenyon Drake probably goes back to Arizona, but I'm not positive.
There's one guy that's not on your list, and he gets left off of every list, and it's Marlon Mack. Is he done?
Well, he just blew his knee into a billion pieces.
So? I mean, we've seen guys blow their knees out and come back and be good.
Name me running backs. Name me a running back. I'll wait.
Todd Gurley.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
What?
Todd Gurley's knees turned into fucking shredded deli meat. Todd Gurley's not in my top 20.
I think that proves Jeremy's point.
Yeah, I think you just, Ron had I think you just proved my point. Todd Gurley right now would be lucky if he could outrun me.
Todd Gurley blew his knee out in college.
Multiple times. And then it kept happening, and he's been injury prone as fuck.
And earned one of the biggest contracts in history.
Yeah, because he had 1 year. That's it.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, you know how old he was when he did that? He was 20.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, Marlon Mack's not 20.
I get there's an age difference there, but Marlon Mack's what, 26?
I don't know how old Marlon Mack is.
He's
older than you think he is.
I want to think he's in that 26 range.
He's 25.
25. There you go.
I had it the wrong way. He's younger than you think he is.
Yeah. He's 25 years old. He's coming off a knee injury, sure, but before the knee injury, I mean, he was going to be, I thought, he was going to be the feature back in Indianapolis this year.
He's fine. I don't have a problem with him.
Yeah, but
here's my problem with
it's like everybody's just forgetting that he's out there because of the injury.
I didn't forget.
Okay.
I knew he was out there.
Because
here's my problem with Marlon Mack. He's been in the NFL for 4 years. If you do the math, that means he could have played in 64 games. You know how many he's played in? 40. That's frightening for me for a running back because running backs don't tend to get healthier. Running backs age like cheese.
Okay.
Real good the first day, it starts to wear out quick.
Yeah, when it comes to guys who are on the free agent market that could have a starting role next year for somebody, he's number 1 on my list.
That's dumb. As long as Aaron Jones is a thing, he shouldn't be number 1 on.
Well, I discount Aaron Jones because I think,
if you're about to say I think he's going to get franchised, then you know more than every beat writer in that city because nobody knows shit.
No, I'm not saying that I know he's going to, but if I were them, that's what I would do. I would franchise him. $8 million for Aaron Jones is a hell of a deal, in my opinion.
I mean, I would too.
Okay.
But I'm not really worried about what it is that I would do. I care more what they're going to do.
But and
nobody has a good read on that right now.
But I would have Marlon Mack ahead of everybody else on this list. Other than Aaron Jones.
You'd have him ahead of Chris Carson.
Absolutely.
Cool, you're wrong. You'd have him ahead of Kenyon Drake.
Absolutely.
Cool, you're wrong.
I'm not wrong. Check the stats.
I can. They're up in front of me right now.
Okay.
How many 1,000-yard years has Marlon Mack ever had in his life?
1.
It's 1.
Yeah.
In 2 of his 4 years combined, he's run for less than 400 yards. You're projecting. And I mean, I get it. You're not paying for a projection. You're not. And he had a horrific knee injury. If you think he's going to come back and be that guy, you're wrong. All right,
Okay.
Here's what you need to know about Marlon Mack. And here's the reason he's not in my top 9. If they really believed in him, would they have used a high-end second-round pick on Jonathan Taylor? You know why? Because running backs don't really matter. And if you've got one that's even average to good, you're not spending a second-round pick on another one. The Indianapolis Colts didn't believe in him. They've used 2 second-day picks on running backs in the last 3 years. Should tell you everything you need to know. His own team didn't believe in him. And I'm not saying he's a bad running back. I'm just saying I'm not. Somebody might get a hell of a deal on him. It ain't going to be me.
Yeah.
I would draft a running back every year of my life. I would never sign one, ever. Because I look at the back end of this list, and to get to 9, I had to include James Conner, who is not good at football.
Mike Davis is another guy on the list that I didn't think that I would have him high on my list, but after this past year in Carolina, he showed me that he can be really good in this league. If he's the feature back, I would feel fine with it.
Marlon Mack?
No, Mike Davis.
I don't like him as a feature back. I love him in Carolina. I think he does what Carolina needs. I'll tell you where I'd love Mike Davis. This is not going to happen, but I would love it. Tennessee. I would love him as that guy that's taking carries away from Derrick Henry. I would be plastered, hammered drunk on that's one of my favorite signings ever. Because he just matches what Derrick Henry does so well. I love Mike Davis. I just don't think you ever will. He has injury issues. He's built like a bowling ball. And in his situation, I don't mind that. I really don't. I said that as a negative with Edwards-Helaire. By the way, just since we're talking about running backs, can we go back to when I was right about that? Everybody talked shit for about an hour, and then they went, oh, fuck. I guess I should have not sent that tweet. Because I went back and... Did I tell you my fun Edwards-Helaire story?
No.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I don't know that I've ever been more down on a first-round pick in my life. I crushed that dude all offseason last year going, no running back that size has ever been real good in the NFL. Well, after week 1, when he terrorizes the Texans, I got added on Twitter about 200 times. I went back and sent them all a message after week 16, like, how you feel about that now? Feel good? That's what I thought. Come at the king, you best not miss. Because on running backs, I don't miss very often.
Right.
I am very good at running backs. Just throwing it out there. And there's one in this draft class that I am hammered drunk on.
And that's Najee Harris?
I like
Travis
Najee
Etienne.
Harris.
Which one?
I like Travis Etienne. I like Najee Harris. Kenneth Gainwell is the one I'm drunk on.
Really?
Yeah. Kenneth Gainwell is my 3.
Really?
I'm all about Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, everybody knows about Travis Etienne and Najee Harris. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know. I mean, my God, they were the running backs on the 2 best teams in the country for the last 2 years.
Right.
I don't think you really need my analysis of those 2.
Right.
I'm going to be really honest with you. Watching tape at Memphis, Kenneth Gainwell's better than Antonio Gibson is. And I love Antonio Gibson. He's better. He's better as a 3-down back, and I firmly believe that.
I agree with you.
I do.
That's the one thing that shocks me. I was actually going into this draft class thinking, he's going to do it again, isn't he?
Nope.
Jeremy's going to do it again because I told you last year that Antonio Gibson is the deal. And that he was going to be successful in the next level, and you poo-pooed that. And so I was hoping that Kenneth Gainwell was going to slip past you again because I like him as well.
Learn my lesson. Here's my thing.
He's my 4. I've got.
Who do you have ahead of him?
I've got Javonte Williams ahead of him.
See, Javonte Williams and Michael Carter are the same dude to me.
Yeah.
I know they're built different. I know they're the same guy. In terms of what they will be in the NFL, they need another dude with them. I look at Kenneth Gainwell and go, that could be a 3-down back.
He could be a feet back.
I think Kenneth Gainwell could be a 3-down back.
All right.
He's a guy that I think is going to go in the 3rd. There will be multiple running backs that go ahead of him. They shouldn't do it. A lot of people are going to see Chuba Hubbard at 8 and go, I'm wrong. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
What is it about Chuba that's not going to translate?
He's not an every down back. And I don't think anybody could convince themselves that he is. I mean, the frame is fine. You had injury. Let me see if I can put this in words because I'm hemming and hawing around.
Right.
If you have medical issues in the Big 12 where they're allergic to defense, you're not going to hold up in the NFL well. Chuba Hubbard's one of those guys that I think is going to have a tremendous career that lasts about 2 years. He just can't stay healthy.
Right.
And I'm good. I'm not putting draft capital in a running back of a guy that I think could be out of the NFL at 25 years old.
I feel that way about Trey Sermon.
People are losing their shit on Trey Sermon, and it's comical to me.
What do you mean, losing their shit? Like overvaluing him?
Yes.
Yes.
Trey Sermon's going to go ahead of every running back on this screen not named Travis Etienne and Najee Harris. You mark my words. Remember I said that. He'll go ahead of all of them.
After running for 300 yards in a Big Ten championship game, that puts you on the map.
And it shouldn't.
I agree.
It shouldn't. Because Northwestern sold out in that game to stop Justin Fields. That's why Trey Sermon was so good. Watch the tapes. Not that hard to figure out.
Yeah.
They had 5 guys in the box regularly. Of course he had a big game. Of course he did. And I'm not down on it. Hell, he's my 7. And I love the 6 dudes ahead of him. But calm down on this. He's an every down back in the NFL. No, he's not.
What do you feel about Kylan Hill? He's not on your list either.
He's not. He's a situational guy to me. I just look at him and I think he's a really good receiving back out of the backfield. And I think it's what he's going to be in the NFL.
Absolutely.
He strikes me as a guy that will be Darren Sproulsy.
Okay.
And that definitely has a role. I'm just not necessarily going to put draft capital into that.
I was thinking Kareem Hunt.
No, he's not that good of a runner. Kareem Hunt's really good between the tackles. Let me think. There's a better example on Kylan Hill than the one I'm using. Give me a second on that. I'm flipping through my brain here trying to.
Kylan Hill's a guy that I really liked, and I mean he's been battle tested in the SEC. I mean he played for Mississippi State. They weren't a great team, but I mean he still got his against the SEC defenses.
He can,
and I feel like he is a guy that can, he'll be a good Jamal Williams, complementary piece in an offense.
He's built well, which I'm fine with. I don't know. I look at Kylan Hill. There's some character issues with him too. This is probably not going to be a popular take. I don't do character issues with running backs. You're not important enough for me to deal with you being a knucklehead. I just don't do it.
Right.
And this is a guy that got suspended, opted out. Those are 2 gigantic red flags to me. For me, with a running back, if you have more than 1 red flag, I'm out. I don't give a fuck who you are. Highest rated running backs I've ever had. If you had more than 1 red flag, I'm out. It's just too easy to find them.
Right.
I mean, my God, think about how many running backs in the NFL you look at and go, if you were given the chance, you could be a starting back in the NFL. I mean, think about how deep you get in that. And I'll use my team. LaMichael Pirine. He went in the 4th round last year. He could be a starter in the NFL.
Yeah.
He needs another piece. He needs another guy that can do things. Woo.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thanks.
That scared the shit out of me. I'm not even lying.
I also wonder what his political leanings, I guess, will play into a factor with that. Because remember, he sat out at Mississippi State. He said he wasn't going to play again if the state of Mississippi. Stop it! Trying to do a show in here. Calm it down. All right. But remember, he sat out, said he wouldn't play another down at Mississippi State unless they changed the state flag.
Yeah, I mean, and
they did. And so he's become kind of a folk hero in that sense among college players. So I think, I don't know. I don't know if that will have any effect on how teams evaluate him with all of the other stuff that you said as well.
I mean, I don't think it. I really don't think it will. I think the fact he opted out in the middle at the end of the season will have a bigger issue. Brian asked me in the comments about Stevenson out of Oklahoma. He's very multiple. I have him as a fullback. That would be my knock on him. But I think he can be. He's my number 1 fullback, if that means anything. Another guy that's not on this screen that I do want to talk about is Demetric Felton from UCLA.
Okay.
He's not on my list because I don't think he's a running back. The NFL listed him as a wide receiver. I list him as a wide receiver. I think he's a slot guy. He was awesome at the Senior Bowl. But a lot of people will see him on lists and see him listed He's what Tavon Austin wants to think he is.
Yes, he's a Swiss Army knife that does it all.
Yeah, Tavon Austin put out a list of the 10 most productive players in college football, or most electric players in college football history. He put himself at 2.
Yikes.
Go fuck your whole self. But I do like Demetric Felton. There are a few other. I mean, this is a deep running back class. Mm-hmm. Hey, someone want to go tell him to stop doing that?
Yeah, just poke your head through the hole.
There's a hole in the wall. Just tell him, hey,
Jesus.
Hey, guy, stop it.
Oh, good Lord.
There's 2 running backs out of Louisiana Lafayette. One is Trey Regis. The other one's name is Elijah Mitchell. The drilling is. We're going to get that handled. Give us just a second. And I like both those guys. Yeah. I think they both can be. They were a 3-headed monster at Louisiana.
Yeah.
And I think they can be productive players in the NFL. This is a deep running back class.
There are a lot of running backs that are going to have some impact in the NFL. I think, Chuba Hubbard is probably, for me, he's going to be a late-round star for somebody.
I disagree with you.
You don't think he's going to last?
Well, he's not going to be a late-round. He's not going to be a late-round shit. Somebody's going to fall in love with the tape and take him in the second round.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah.
Wow. All right. I was thinking because some of the mocks that I've been seeing have him going like in the 4th round.
There are some that believe that. I'll tell you another drawback on Chuba Hubbard that you don't seem to be putting any stock in. Dude can't pass block to save his life.
That does matter at the next level.
Yeah, like at all. He's awful in pass pro. So that's to me. I think that might push him to the end of the 2nd, beginning of the 3rd. Okay. But I think a team's going to overvalue him. They're going to see him as a back that we can teach him. He can learn in our system. No, he can't.
Yeah.
You couldn't pass block in the Big 12 where defense is optional.
You're not wrong.
I'm good.
So what teams are in the market for a running back? Who's on this list that they have to have a running back?
I look at the Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. They tried the Myles Gaskin thing, and good for you. That was fun while it lasted.
Tried.
I mean, and he's fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't list. I'm looking at my list of needs in the NFL. I've got I got 4 teams that have running back as a primary need. Right. The Arizona Cardinals are one, and I think they'll take it. I think they believe in Chase Edmonds. I just think you need another guy with him.
Agreed.
Whether that's Kenyon Drake, bringing Kenyon Drake back, or taking a guy like a Javonte Williams or a Michael Carter. Michael Carter is the one I would like the best.
That's
because he's a nose down, run your ass over kind of running back.
Mm-hmm. He'd be a great complement to Chase Edmonds.
I agree with that.
In that offense. I would like that. I would start coming more over to your side if that happens.
The Steelers are obviously going to need a running back. They're a team that they have so many, and they do a really good job of finding these guys late. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think they're bringing back James Conner. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But I look at Anthony McFarland. I think they believe in him as a rotational piece. There's another
Benny Snell.
Benny Snell. There's another one still that I'm gleaning over. I'll think of it in a minute.
I can't think of who it is.
They're not a team that strikes me as they're going to use primary draft capital on a running back. Mm-hmm. Jalen Samuels is the one I was trying to think of. The tight end, quarterback, punter hybrid that Jalen Samuels is. And Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I think, needs a second guy with James Robinson. Mm-hmm. James Robinson is a very good between the tackles running back. I think he was asked to do too much last year. And with a quarterback in Lawrence that you really got to protect, I think you need a slightly more all-around guy for the pass game. But those would be the biggest ones for me.
Mm-hmm. The Atlanta Falcons, you didn't mention them. They've got to have a running back. They can't rely on Ito Smith.
Yeah, but see, I think Atlanta's actually going to put Atlanta's one of those teams that I think could wind up signing a Chris Carson or Kenyon Drake. They just strike me as that team that's going to see a guy that they can spend $5 million on, and that's what they're going to do. The thing about Atlanta is you've got a quarterback that's 37 years old. So putting a rookie running back behind him that's a cause for concern. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're going to do that. Plus, they believe in Brian Hill.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know, but they do.
Did you mention Seattle in that list? Because Seattle's losing Chris Carson.
Yeah,
they
they're
got
stuck with
Rashad Penny.
They're stuck with Rashad Penny and DJ Dallas.
Really?
Yeah. Think about how many needs the Seattle Seahawks have. If they drafted a running back in the first 3 rounds, there might be a mutiny. And one of them, and it would be led by Russell Wilson.
And I guess maybe there are some that feel that DJ Dallas can be a successful.
He can be a
running back.
rotational piece. Actually, that was one of the few picks Seattle had last year that I liked.
Well, he's going to be the only one because Rashad Penny can't stay healthy. Rashad Penny's going to come in and play 2 games and be done.
Keep
What?
talking.
What? Am I wrong?
A little bit.
Okay. I don't think so. Rashad Penny has been a complete disappointment for a guy that they took in the 2nd round.
Yeah, you know who Rashad Penny's stat line looks exactly like?
Who?
Marlon Mack.
No.
Yeah, his game played stat line looks exactly like Marlon Mack.
Really?
So he's injury prone, but Marlon Mack's not.
I didn't say Marlon Mack wasn't injury prone.
No, but you wanted him to be on my little list because he could be a feature back that you feel good about.
Yeah.
He's Rashad Penny with one slightly more productive season. That's it. And he didn't have Chris Carson with him. Marlon Mack's one productive season, he was the only running back with a pulse in the whole damn building.
Mm-hmm.
I look at those two guys super similarly.
I don't think you should. Okay. The stats may say I'm wrong, but this is where I'm going to do the Jeremy Greene. I don't care about stats. I don't care about stats.
Well, I mean, the stats would lend to you. I'm talking about what they look like on tape.
You think they're the same. You think their talents are comparable between Rashad Penny and Marlon Mack?
How many offensive linemen of the level of Anthony Costanzo or Quentin Nelson has Rashad Penny ever run behind? I'll give you a hint.
None.
It's 0. Yeah, I see them as the same dude.
Okay. I do not. And I think Seattle should be in the market.
Because you
for a
play
running
fantasy
back.
football, and if they don't put up fantasy football points, then you don't think they're good. And Marlon Mack was a value for you 2 years ago, and you think that means he's good. And it doesn't.
You're not wrong.
I know. I play fantasy football, too, for what it's worth.
New England Patriots and your Jets.
I can see the Jets drafting a running back.
Mm-hmm.
ETN has been front of conscious for me for a while.
Yep.
New England, I think, brings back James White. James White just – I don't see I mean, he definitely has value, and I think people underrate him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how much value he's going to have outside of that system. He fits New England like a glove, so I think that's how – I think he goes back there, and they roll with Sony Michel and Damian Harris, and they're not spending another – they're not putting another – draft pick into running back. I can promise you that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let's talk about Les Miles for a second. Les Miles got fired.
Uh-huh.
What?
I thought we were going to talk about this later.
Later when?
Well, we have multiple shows.
I mean, you could.
We literally
could
talked about this
address
not 5 minutes before we went on camera. Did we not? Am I out of my mind? Or?
You're not out of your mind.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Sorry, I've been a little distracted.
A little bit. Yeah, it's
Just
been an
a
aggressive
tad.
morning for this guy.
Les Miles got fired from Kansas.
He did. And you know what?
And-
You know how much analysis you need? Look, you know how much analysis you need of that? There it is. Bye, Les. You go eat grass somewhere else, you creepy fucker.
We'll have more coverage on that coming up this afternoon on the ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400 The Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app 3 to 5 weekday afternoons.
Will we have more coverage on it? Because I think I just covered it pretty well.
No, I think there's a little bit more to be said about it. It's tag day in the NFL as well. The latest news we've had on that is Brandon Scherff is getting the tag for the 2nd year in a row from the Washington football team. Marcus May is apparently going to get the franchise tag from the New York Jets.
I think May winds up getting a long-term deal done. Sheriff's going to play on the tag again.
Mm-hmm.
Sheriff just can't stay healthy. Like, if he was healthy, he would easily be the highest-paid interior lineman in the NFL. It would be him and Joe Thuney, and I'm not as high on Joe Thuney as everybody else is.
Right.
If Sheriff was Thuney healthy, he'd be the highest-paid guard in the league by $3 million a year.
The franchise tag deadline is today.
Allegedly.
At 4?
As of right now.
As of right now, before they decide to extend it.
As with everything, as with all schedules during the coronavirus, schedule is subject to change.
What could make them push it back? What would be the point in pushing it back?
If they can't agree on a cap number. You can't force a team to make a decision on the franchise tag if you don't know how much money you have. And currently, we don't. So I'm hoping that number comes down about 2:00 today, and then teams know what they're going to do.
Right.
I don't think
they've already worked this out. No matter what the number's going to be.
It looks like the cap's going to be $185 million, and I think every team in the league's pretty comfortable with that. So, if it comes in at 187, I don't think you're going to go, oh, well, now we can tag him. And no, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And I think they find a way to get it worked out.
Yeah.
Got to keep everything on schedule. Got to make the donuts.
It's a very exciting day for Ron and I as Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans to find out who's going to be the franchise tag.
Which one's coming back?
Which one is going to come back? Which one are we going to get? Are we going to get Chris Godwin, or are we going to get Shaq Barrett? Or are we going to do nothing and let us twist in the wind? Waiting to find out what's going to happen in the offseason.
That was a Kansas song, wasn't it? Twist in the wind.
Yeah. No, that was a Jodie Foster movie. Tayin' in the wind.
Tayin'
in the wind. Old Nail.
It looks like Tam.
I knew it was coming out eventually. You watched that over the weekend, didn't you?
No.
Oh, you were sending me screenshots.
Yeah. No, that was a different movie. Or that was a TV show. It had the girl that was in the hole. I can't remember her name. The girl that was in Catherine, the girl that was in the pit.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
I thought it was a scene from that movie, and I was like, oh, wait.
Nope.
Jeremy's watching it again.
No, she was. I think we were watching Criminal Minds or something, and she popped up, and I went, oh, wait. Was she a great big fat person? My wife looked at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? I went, that's her. That's the great big fat person.
Yeah. Against the Wind. Thank you, Patrick Holt.
No, it was Dust in the Wind.
It's Dust in the Wind was the song I was talking about.
Against the Wind. That's a good one.
It's another one.
It's another one, yeah. It's a good old good one. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Sportsocracy here on YouTube. We're glad everybody is along on the ride with us.
Hey, everybody that's watching, do me a favor. Click that little thumb below me. We're trying to figure out the algorithm on YouTube, and the like thing is confusing the bejesus out of me.
Why?
Well, because some videos get a bajillion likes and some get 4. And it seems like the ones that get a bajillion are the ones that a shitload of people watch. So I just want to try something.
It's kind of how that works.
I'm not asking for much. Just click on the damn thumb. I got to know.
Click on the thumb to like and click that subscribe button so you get access to all of our content here, not only the live show, but as we are continuing our journey here in the Offseason Files. It's time to talk about the LA Chargers. They have the quarterback of the future. Justin Herbert is the guy moving forward. He had a better rookie season than I ever would have expected. And it's got to be, everybody there in that organization feels like they've got a shot here.
They do, and I'm a big fan of the coach they hired. Brandon Staley is a good young coach, and there's a lot of defensive pieces on this team. A lot of people looked at them like, they've got the quarterback, but they need all these. Really? I think this is a pretty talented roster. You lost a ton of games by one possession because Anthony Lynn didn't understand clock management. He understood Latin about as well as he understood clock management. I don't know that I've ever seen a coach that took that many timeouts 5 minutes into games. It seemed like I saw that every freaking week, that they would be driving on the opening drive and Anthony Lynn would have to burn a timeout. That drives me nuts.
It's about as good as hillbilly hand fishing.
Freddie Kitchens.
To having a plan going into a game.
Hillbilly hand fishing.
3 minutes into the game, you're already tapping out going, wait, we don't know what's going on.
Oh, wait.
It's not a good sign. So you think Brandon Staley is a definite upgrade over Anthony Lynn?
Oh, God, yeah.
And I do as well. I criticized Anthony Lynn left and right. I feel like he was the reason, some of his decisions late in games were questionable to me.
Oh, absolutely.
So he was the reason that they were as bad as they were. this past season.
Well, you can't lose many close games.
Right. We knew the coaching change was coming. So where do they stand going into free agency?
They've got about $25 million, but I firmly believe they're going to put the franchise tag on Hunter Henry again. The bad thing is I think that you're going to lose Melvin Ingram, and I like Melvin Ingram a lot. But that's actually not the linebacker that they're going to lose that bothers me the most. I really believe in Denzel Perryman, and I always have.
Yeah.
And I think having him with Kenneth Murray hides some of the deficiencies that Kenneth Murray has. Murray's a good player, don't get me wrong. He's a very good tackler. I just don't think he's very good in coverage. And I think you need that Denzel Perryman. I mean, and I understand that, Perryman didn't play a ton last year. And I'm not saying throw a boatload of money at him, but he's a guy that if he could ever stay healthy would be tremendous next to Kenneth Murray.
They've got a lot of draft capital on the defensive side of the ball.
They do.
And goddamn, Derwin James, please be healthy. He's a guy that I really, really enjoy watching play football, but he just cannot stay healthy to save his life.
Do you know how many games he's played in his career? He's been in the league for 3 years.
Let me guess. 17.
21.
Oh, I'm surprised.
21.
Because it seems like he's good for about, over the last 2 years, he's played a total of 5 games?
Something like that. He's very talented, and for him, I don't think it's an injury-prone thing. I really don't. He just had some bad luck.
Circumstances, yeah.
Just had some bad luck.
Yeah. Are they gonna have Mike Williams back?
It looks that way.
I mean, he's under contract, but they could save some money and move on.
A ton of money they could save with Mike Williams. I mean, it's $16 million. I can't pay Mike Williams $16 million. I just can't do it. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that can't stay healthy, for the love of God. Mike Williams is the definition of it. But you know what's funny? He was, and I said that before I really thought about it. So Mike Williams has been in the league one more year than Derwin James.
Okay.
Derwin James played 21 games.
Yep.
How many's Mike Williams played?
37.
56.
Whoa.
He hasn't missed as many games as you think he has.
Right.
He's only missed 2 games in 2 years.
He's been questionable for every game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he stays, is he going to play?
Right.
I don't know. I just don't look at him as, I mean, he's making $16 million this year. I don't look at him as that kind of receiver.
No.
Now, if you were to do something with him, you would have to find a replacement. And he did have a good rapport with Herbert.
Is there that guy in free agency, though?
Oh, there's a billion. There's a billion receivers in free agency.
Okay. So here's my question. To me, Mike Williams would be a guy that I'd be willing to play this game with. Let's cut him. We'll save the money.
Well, if you're going to do that, you might as well just extend. You're talking about trying to bring him back?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to do that, then just extend it.
Well, I'm saying, how much can you get? What kind of a deal can we get on him? We don't know.
And that's, by the way, the more likely thing. It's more likely that they extend Mike Williams for 3 or 4 more years and extend the money out, and because it's all base salary. And this could be converted.
And I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that. But he might be a guy that cut him loose. Take your run at other receivers, see what the market bears out, and then, you're going to get a deal on somebody. I feel like there's going to be a guy that we look at in this wide receiver free agency class and go, damn, that team got a hell of a deal. Because there's so few teams that are going to be able to spend money.
Well, and there are so many receivers.
Right. And so is Mike Williams at $16 million going to be better than what you can get for 11 or 12?
No. I mean, to me, there's no value there whatsoever. I mean, I think he's a fine receiver. He's a very good red zone threat. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't see him as markedly better than, say, trying to think of, like, Juju Smith-Schuster is better than him. Kenny Galladay, Will Fuller. I mean, there's a ton of receivers that are better than him. I'm actually going to look. We're doing receiver previews tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to look at my receiver rankings and tell you where Mike Williams would fit in if he was a free agent. He would be back into the top 10. I would have Corey Davis right behind him.
Okay.
Curtis Samuel, Antonio Brown, Will Fuller, Kenny Golladay, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson in front of him.
I have no problem with any of that.
So, I mean, if you could get any of those guys, then yeah, you've improved. But, you're also only on the hook for 1 year with Mike Williams. I think it's more likely they extend him. And I could see that happening this year.
Yeah.
You don't want to tinker with – it worked so well with Justin Herbert, you don't want to fuck with things.
Right.
And I think that could be – you could be adding something for no reason. You could be adding a wrench in Herbert for no reason. So I would say extend Mike Williams and then use your draft capital. You do have some money if you want to shore up some things with this team.
Where are they at in the draft? They're picking at 13, 47, and 78. Those are their first 3 picks. What do you think they go after with that number 1 pick? Is it another linebacker that they, to take over?
No, at 13, if Rashawn Slater's there, they take Rashawn Slater. He's so mobile, he's so malleable, and they're going to lose Forrest Lamp and Dan Feeney. If they don't re-sign, they could re-sign him. That's 2 guys that I really believed in as draft prospects that haven't really been as good as I thought they would be. If Rashawn Slater's on the board, that's who they take. And I'll be honest with you, I could see that with Elijah Vera-Tucker. I could see that with a couple guys. I think their first pick at 13 is going to be a lineman one way or the other. Pretty much no matter who it is.
Yeah.
I don't think they would reach all the way down for Darisaw. That's too high for him, but I think Slater or Vera-Tucker will be there at 13.
What are they going to do? Apparently, they're going to be shopping Trey Turner. I heard that rumor the other day. And they're going to lose Pouncey. Pouncey's retired. So, is this a draft where they go heavy on linemen?
Could.
They go centers,
this
guards,
is a team that I would
tackles,
love.
everything. This
is a team I would love to wind up with Landon Dickerson out of Alabama. He's a guy I watched at Florida State, and I saw the talent, I think, well before Willie Taggart did. And then he transferred to Alabama, and I went, yeah, there he is. That's the guy I was trying to tell you. That's who I thought he was.
Right.
And I would like that. I mean, for me, if LA walks away from the first 2 days of the draft and they have 2 linemen on the offensive side and a D lineman on the defensive side, I'm not going to be upset about that. I think, as a matter of fact, that's what I have as of right now. My 3-round mock has them taking 2 offensive linemen, 1 in the first, 1 in the third, and then a D lineman in the second.
Cornerbacks. They could go after a cornerback.
You say this all the time, and I cannot for the life of me figure out what you're fucking talking about.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? Who are the starting cornerbacks of the LA Chargers right now?
Chris Harris.
And there's one. Casey Hayward's the other one.
Thank you. God.
Of all the things, this is about the 3rd time you've said this to me, and I see this other places too. I don't get it. I mean, yeah, you need a third. You need the second outside corner because Chris Harris plays in the slot more than he plays anywhere. I get that. It is nowhere near the level of need that you have on the offensive line.
No,
it's not even close.
That's why I brought it up.
It's also not anywhere close to the need you're going to have on the edge. If you lose Melvin Ingram, you're going to need an edge rusher badly. It makes 0 sense to me. But I keep hearing this. Could they take Patrick Surtain if he falls to him? Why? Why would you do that?
No, not in the first day. I was talking late rounds.
Oh.
You need a depth piece.
You talk shit about their secondary a lot, and I've tried to wrap my head around that.
I don't talk shit about their secondary. I just think, really?
A little bit.
I like it. I mean, I like Derwin James. I like Casey Hayward.
Well, and that's the thing is, and I think that's what people undervalue, is they were in a shitload of shootouts last year, and they're probably going to do that again. Derwin James improves your secondary to such a point that I don't think you have to put huge capital into that other corner.
No. I was thinking more late rounds. Add some depth to that secondary because, I mean, they're losing 4 or 5 guys in the secondary this year.
Correct. And before comp picks, of which we're not factoring in comp picks because they're all projected and the projections are always wrong. They have 8 picks in this draft. I could see them adding a corner. There's a sweet little there's a nice little sweet spot between about the end of the 3rd round to the 5th that you're going to see a handful of guys that I'm pretty fond of.
I think the Chargers are quickly becoming one of my favorite young teams in the NFL. They have a lot of pieces that I am invested in, despite what Jeremy has to say. Like a lot of their pieces on the defensive side. I'm a huge fan of Austin Eckler. He is a guy that I think has proven that he can be the every down guy. Do you still disagree with that?
They need another guy. I mean, and whether that's Josh Kelly or whatever the case may be, they need I think you saw last year, you can't expect Eckler to be a 20-plus touch a game guy. That's not who he is. He's not built like that. They need, and I believe in Josh Kelly a little more than other people do. I liked him coming out. I liked some of the things he did last year. I think this is a team that's going to fixate on the line to protect Justin Herbert. And if you've got guys that are, I call it Joe Thuney syndrome. He's a half-ass run blocker. He's a damn good pass blocker. Last year didn't necessarily bear that out.
Right.
But if you could find some guys like that with the intention of protecting Herbert and opening some lanes for Eckler, that would be tremendous. And I think it would help Josh Kelly as well.
And you say they are expected to franchise Hunter Henry again.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Okay.
I've heard a lot about that. So I don't think they're going to let him go for nothing. I mean, in terms of sheer talent at the tight end position in the NFL, there's not 5 tight ends in the league better than Hunter Henry. And what is a young quarterback's best friend? Is tight end. So I struggle to think they're going to let the security blanket go for their franchise quarterback. By the way, breaking news, New England Patriots will not tag Joe Thuney. He will hit the free agent market.
Nice. And he will fetch a decent price.
Big old biggin, and it'll probably be for my New York Jets.
Now, are you going to like him now?
Yeah.
You can forgive his past transgressions with the New England Patriots. At least you're honest. At least you're honest. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Follow along with all of our off-season previews here on the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer, and he's Jeremy Greene. Now let's get into the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have, Frank Reich. He's there.
He's doing stuff.
Being the leader. He's getting this team, and now he's got a quarterback. One that he believes in and one that he believes has a future. Carson Wentz coming to this team, I really like it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a Carson Wentz hater. I believe Carson Wentz has good football still left in him. I believe Frank Reich can be the guy to get it out of him. We've already seen it. They're going to have to obviously figure out some things on how he can hold on to the football. He fumbles a shitload of times. But I feel like they've got a lot of young pieces there to be super successful. We know they've got one of the best defenses in the league. We know that they have, the best offensive line in the league?
One of them. Losing Costanzo that hurts.
True.
They're going to need a left tackle. I'm going to be really honest with you. The Indianapolis Colts are the team that makes the most sense to chase Orlando Brown in the NFL.
Okay.
It's them and the Jaguars that make the most sense to me. Because having a left tackle like that with Ryan Kelly and Quentin Nelson and Braden Smith, that's an offensive line.
Orlando.
That's a time that now you have put – because they're going to wind up with another receiver, whether it's bringing back T.Y. Hilton. I can see them bringing back T.Y. Hilton and adding another receiver. You're going to do everything in your power to make this Carson Wentz thing work out. Because this is the perfect scenario. He's got the coach he wants. He's got a tremendous offensive line. You add the left tackle, and I can see this team being a Super Bowl contender because the defense is very, very good. The thing about the Colts is they have a lot of money, but they don't.
Okay, explain.
So they have a shitload of cap space. You got a lot of guys that you're getting ready to pay. So unless you're planning on kicking the can down the road, I don't necessarily see the Colts as like their big free agent acquisition is Carson Wentz. And you added him in a trade.
Yeah.
That's going to be the big splashy move for the Colts, in my opinion. They have money. They'll wind up with some deals on some guys. I could see that you were talking earlier about a team that could wind up with a receiver and you go, damn, they got a deal on that guy.
Yep.
This is the team I could see doing that. I could see them getting a deal on 1 year with T.Y. Hilton and maybe a 3-year deal on somebody like, just go through my rankings, somebody like Nelson Aguilar or somebody of that nature. Alshon Jeffrey.
You think they're going to sign Alshon?
Kidding. I wasn't kidding in any way.
Eesh.
Alshon and Carson Wentz got along pretty well.
Okay.
And you could get him for a bag of peanuts right now.
No doubt. I don't think
How
anybody
old
else
is Alshon Jeffrey?
28.
God almighty. Y'all went the super wrong way. Maybe it's because I remember Alshon Jeffrey when he was drafted.
Yeah.
He's 31 years old.
Is he really?
I thought he was like 39.
He's definitely not that old.
He's 31 years old. He can still be a good 2. And I think Michael Pittman's a 1. Straight up, I think Michael Pittman's a 1. I've thought it since the minute I watched tape on him the first time.
Okay.
He was the number 1 receiver on the Chase Claypool list last year. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 behind Chase Claypool.
Right.
Formerly known as the 6 to midnight list.
I don't know about him being a number 1, but he is a very, very good number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. But that's not, you don't move on with just him. You've got to have another piece.
You do.
And I don't see.
And I think Paris Campbell can be that piece. If he can stay healthy, for the love of God, stay healthy.
I don't see T.Y. Hilton continuing with this team. I think they go in a different angle.
And they very well might.
And they'll be better served to do that.
I think T.Y. Hilton's going to go out and find that the market on him is ice cold, and he's going to come back to Indy on a sweet deal.
On a sweet deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can get a value on him, sure. Why not? But obviously, they've got their quarterback now. They've got the running back of the future.
Oh, no doubt.
Jonathan Taylor is amazing. I fell in love with that guy at Wisconsin, and he did not do anything to get me off of that bandwagon in his rookie year. Like I said, their offensive line is shoring up. What's their big target on defense?
I look at this team. You're a little old. I mean, I'm not super wild about Justin Houston. I think they need an edge guy. If you told me they're going to go out and spend money, and I understand, I'm going to get comments in the comments of this video saying I'm an idiot, blah 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 blah.
Okay.
This is a team I could see making a run at Yannick Ngakoue. I really could see them making a run at Yannick Ngakoue because he ain't going back to the Jaguars. Mm-hmm. He doesn't fit with the Jets. And there's just not that many teams that have money. He's not going back to Baltimore. And I look at this team and go, he fits so perfectly here. And that strikes me as such a Colts move because this is not a huge free agent destination town. Mm-hmm. But he's a young guy. They do have money, and he fits like a glove on this defense. And you got him with Darius Leonard behind him. I think that sounds okay. And that would allow, because they've got a ton of young corners, whether it's, Kenny Moore, Rock Ya-Sin. They've put a lot of capital in the secondary. Mm-hmm. None of them are great corners. And Xavier Rhodes is a free agent who I don't know if they're going to bring back or not. My fear with Xavier Rhodes is that he hits the open market and a team gives him money that's stupid. And it could happen because this is a killed market at corner.
Yeah.
One of the ways to mitigate a young secondary is to have a really good pass rush. And of all the high-end free agents, that's the one I could see them pursuing.
Mm-hmm. It makes a whole lot of sense.
This team has
and it
drafted,
would make them more dangerous.
This team has drafted ridiculously well. Yeah. And the thing about that is that eventually you have to pay the piper and pay those guys. Mm-hmm. And Darius Leonard is right there for that. And you've got several other guys that are going to be coming up for money. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily see them. When I said they have money but they don't. Yeah, they have $45 million in cap space. Yes, you can do the shell game of kicking the can down the road and making the numbers work. Mm-hmm. I think it's more likely that they take care of their guys on not team friendly deals, but they pay them early. And it's done. There's no, are we going to franchise? No, we just got the deal done. And I could see them doing a lot of that to keep everybody happy because this team is insanely talented. They needed a quarterback, and now they have one.
Well, they know they're definitely not moving on from Darius Leonard. He's going to be the guy that Indianapolis keeps around forever. He's the next Dwight Freeney of that franchise. They'll keep him there for 15 years.
He's a fantastic player.
Absolutely. And he's a really likable guy.
He is. He's one of the best draft picks. I haven't finished this yet, but he's one of the highest rated draft picks the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying they won't necessarily be a heavy player in free agency.
They're going to be a player,
will,
but I think they're going to be more looking for deals.
Right.
I don't necessarily think they're going to be big game hunting, for the super high-end guys, the Allen Robinsons and guys like that.
Right.
I could see them taking a run at Yannick Ngakoue.
I've heard Kenny Galladay's name mentioned more than once when I'm looking at Colts
I have
needs.
as well, and I'm not sure that I love that. I feel like Kenny Galladay and Michael Pittman Jr. are the same guy. I don't really like having one on each side. Mm-hmm. You need somebody with some speed. Now, here's where I could be wrong in that. If you feel like Paris Campbell is going to be healthy for once and can be that guy, okay, I rescind my objection. I also think Kenny Galladay is going to be insanely expensive if he's not franchised.
I can get down with that. What about Antonio Brown? Doesn't fit the culture in Indianapolis?
Not at all. Not at all.
Any other wide receivers you think could land there? In that,
I mean, then you start getting into the draft, and I look at a guy just off the top of my head, Terrace Marshall from LSU. I would like him in this system. He's a bigger guy. He's even bigger than Pittman is. But I could see that being conducive to Carson Wentz.
Okay. At number 21, would that be their best bet?
No, I mean, as of right now, I've got them taking Gregory Rousseau. They are my landing spot for Rousseau. That's assuming they don't land Yannick Ngakoue. Mm-hmm. And he's a situational pass rusher. I get it. But in that defense, I think he could be tremendous. If there was a tackle right there, that's what I would have given them, but there's not one. Mm-hmm. I don't have Tevin Jenkins that high. I mean, Sam Cosmi, I've had that high off and on. He's another guy that I really like landing in Indy. I just wish they weren't quite so high. If they were 7 spots lower, I would love Sam Cosmi. It's just a little bit of a reach that high to me. And they don't strike me as a team that's going to do that. Mm-hmm. They mitigate the risk, and they draft the best. They draft their favorite player on the board. I can give you 4 different examples of that over the last 2 years. And that's how you're supposed to do the draft. That's why this team went out and got Carson Wentz, because they have a lot of cheap talent from guys they've drafted.
Right.
That's why it works. And I think I 100% think this team is a Super Bowl contender. I think this is the team that's being undervalued by Vegas. It's being undervalued by the NFL media on the whole. This is the best team in the AFC South. And I don't think it's all that close.
I think it's pretty close with them in Tennessee, but it's going to matter. Tennessee's going to have to, they're going to have to do some things, as we talked about in their preview, to stay in this conversation. Because no doubt I believe that Indianapolis is the team that is best set up to win this division over the next 3 or 4 years. But it all really truly hinges on Carson Wentz and whether or not he can regain the form that he had under Frank Reich with the Philadelphia Eagles. And you don't think that's going to be a problem?
No, I don't. I think the problem with – I'm going to say the same thing about Carson Wentz that I said about Sam Darnold. I think the problem with Carson Wentz was the Philadelphia Eagles. I do not think the problem with the Philadelphia Eagles was Carson Wentz. Mm-hmm. And I think you're going to see it in Indianapolis, and Philly's going to be a sewer water, dumpster juice bag of penises for the next 3 years. And I'm going to be sitting here going, hey, you remember that quarterback I tried to tell you was really good? Yeah, he's been in the Pro Bowl in Indy.
I don't see how Indianapolis is not a playoff team and possibly a division winner, and I won't be surprised to see them in a championship game.
I'm right there with you.
But I don't know that I can put them over like Kansas City.
Oh, I can. Oh, I can 100% do that.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I can 100% do that.
Because the defense is so much better?
Over Kansas City or over Tennessee?
Over Kansas City, overall in the AFC.
Things would have to break their way. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I feel that way about a lot of people. They're markedly deeper. Defense is drastically better. Mm-hmm. Running game is drastically better. But then you get to quarterback. And right. Mahomes is just a head and shoulders above everybody. But I think Carson Wentz can be in that discussion of the next tier. And if that's the case, then yeah, I could put them in over. I could say I could see a path if they wind up in the Super Bowl and Kansas City doesn't.
Hitting a home run in the offseason obviously is going to be the thing that gets them over that hump. I like what you've built here. Yannick Ngakoue, maybe a wide receiver in free agency, draft him a tackle or something. It's very doable for them to fill the pieces that they have to be one of the most competitive teams in the AFC next year.
And I full on agree with that. You were talking about Marlon Mack in our morning show.
Yep.
I think they're going to bring Marlon Mack back. I think he's going to be a value running back, and he'll steal some carries from Jonathan Taylor, yes, but he'll also keep Jonathan Taylor fresh.
Exactly. Because if you rely on that one guy, he will break sooner.
I just don't think the market on Mack's going to be that tremendous, and because there are a ton of running backs, whether it's in the draft or free agency, and I could see them getting a deal on him, and I would actually really like that. Him coming back as a spell back to Jonathan Taylor, I think, would be very conducive to Indianapolis.
I think Marlon Mack still got it in him to be a starter in this league, but if teams don't feel the same way, you could pick a lot worse places to end up than going back to Indianapolis and hopefully being the guy that can pick up the pieces and fill the gaps and be able to compete for a championship, because at least you will have that opportunity.
And I'll tell you another thing. This is a team I wouldn't be shocked if they added another corner. I know they've done that 100 times. It's really one of their only deficiencies. I feel like they have, Rhodes, if they can figure that out, I feel like you have a 1, and I feel like you have 2 3s. It's that 2 that I'm curious. Can any of those guys jump to that level? I would be lying if I said I had digested a ton of tape on the second corner for the Indianapolis Colts. I liked Rock Ya-Sin coming out. I've watched some tape on him in the league. I just don't think he's there yet. Could be this year. I love Matt Eberflus, and I think that's a guy that can really coach defense. But don't be shocked if they take a corner higher than you think they would. There are a lot of mocks that have them taking corners, and there's 2 I know they like. I know they like Tyson Campbell out of Georgia. I know they like J.C. Horn out of South Carolina.
Be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at The Sportsocracy. We will have more of the Offseason Files continuing until we get them all finished. And we are working our way through that. Just be sure to subscribe to the channel and check out the Offseason Files playlist. This afternoon on ESPN Asheville, we will have the coverage of the full coverage of the franchise tag deadline as the news rolls out over the day. We'll talk about Les Miles. We'll talk about some college basketball. All of it coming your way. And, of course, more on Dak Prescott getting his money with the Dallas Cowboys. And does that mean that Dallas is a Super Bowl contender moving into the future?
Hey, and we just hit 250 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah!
Opa!
Be sure to share it with your friends. Get them to subscribe as well. The more the merrier here in the channel, and the more we get, the more we can expand and bring you better content and more content throughout our time here together. You're in the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
Yeah.
We'll see you this afternoon on ESPN Asheville at 3. Back here in the Wicked Weed studio. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.